If you're thinking about buying or selling in Cincinnati in 2026, or maybe you're considering a move from out of state, this is going to be the most important video you watch. Because right now, the Cincinnati housing market is doing something that it hasn't done in years. And most people have no idea that this is even happening. So I'm going to break it all down for you, including the prices, the inventory, who holds the power right now, and what this means for your situation. Let's get into it. All right, so let's start with what everyone wants to know, and that's what are homes selling for right now? Well, the median sold price of a home in Cincinnati right now is just about $297,000, and that's actually up over 8% compared to this time last year. But here's the catch. Cincinnati didn't have a huge housing price explosion like some other cities like a Phoenix or a Miami did back during the pandemic and even coming out of the pandemic. And so we've kind of been playing catch up ever since. So in reality, this is actually a really healthy sign for the housing market as it continues to recover from the post-pandemic years. I know that it's 2026 now, so we're kind of pretty far out from the pandemic, but the effects it's had on the housing market are still being felt. And for comparison, the national median right now is just about $400,000. So Cincinnati is coming in over $100,000 cheaper. If you're moving from a coastal city or a place like Chicago, then your money is going to go so much further here in Cincinnati. However, I will say prices do vary a lot. If you're looking at some place like Mason or Westchester, well then, yeah, you're gonna be spending close to $500,000, maybe even more, especially if you're looking for a new construction home. But if you come closer to the city, well then you can check out places like maybe a Finneytown or even a Cheviot, and you can expect to find a home in the mid to high 200,000s, some of them even creeping into the 300,000s. But the bottom line is that we're not experiencing some crazy boom. Yes, home prices are rising, but it's a very sustainable pace. Now, experts typically project that for a healthy housing market, home prices will rise 3 to 5% over the course of a year. So for them to rise 8% compared to this time last year isn't too crazy. Obviously, it's a little quicker than what experts have as a healthy market, but you can expect to see that kind of pace continue with Cincinnati. So if you're a buyer and you're waiting for prices to drop, that's probably not something that's going to happen anytime soon. In fact, if we did, for whatever reason, experience a quick drop in interest rates, all that would really do is send home prices up even further, as there would be more buyers entering the market. Now, I'll get into mortgage rates more in depth in just a little bit, but first we have to talk about something else that affects the housing market, and that is housing inventory. Over the last few years, Cincinnati has had historically low inventory, and we're actually seeing that climb. I feel like I've been saying this over the course of the last year every time I do a market update video, but even right now, inventory is up over 21% compared to this time last year. Inventory in Cincinnati has absolutely exploded. So what does that mean for you? Well, back in 2021 and 2022, you could list your home on the market and you could probably expect to get multiple offers within the first weekend. As long as your home was priced kind of correctly, homes were going for over $30,000, over $40,000 over asking price. And I definitely know that personally because I was shopping for my home during that time. But that era is now over. As inventory keeps rising, there's going to be more competition for sellers, which means they have to come correct when it comes to pricing their home, the condition of the home, and so much more. Right now in Cincinnati, homes are sitting on the market for an average of around 30 to 40 days. Now that can get higher or lower depending on the specific area as you break it down by neighborhood, but you can expect a home to be sitting for at least a month on average. This is great news for buyers because it gives you a little more time to think about things. You don't necessarily have to rush into putting an offer on a home and just thinking, okay, we've got to give $10,000, $20,000 over asking price. It also has meant that we're seeing seller concessions come back in some cases. So this would be things like having the seller help you pay your closing cost or even a rate buy down. In fact, last year in 2025, about 42% of listings at least once had a price reduction. So this means that there's a clear correction in the market as we've been stuck in a seller's market for quite some time. Now, technically we still are in a seller's market. We have about 3 months of inventory. Now that number can shift depending on the neighborhood you're looking at, but a healthy market usually wants 5 to 6 months of inventory. So while we technically are still in a seller's market, it's not like it was a few years ago where sellers could just pretty much name their price and expect buyers to come flocking. This time, the homes that are not priced correctly, they're not in the right condition, they're not marketed well, those are the homes that will sit for months. But if you're a buyer, you should still know if you're looking for a home in a desirable area, places like Hyde Park, I mentioned Mason and Westchester earlier, places that a lot of people want to live in, those homes still go quick, especially when the price is correct. So you do have to make sure that you're prepared to act quick. All right, I mentioned that we were going to talk about mortgage rates, so let's talk about them. But real quick, if you're new here, my name is Evan. I'm a Cincinnati realtor, and I help people just like you buy and sell here in Cincinnati every single week. So if that is you, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My information is down in the description. Okay, so you might be asking, well, what about mortgage rates? Are they going to drop? Are they just going to stay where they're at? Maybe they're going to increase? Well, obviously, we're probably never going to experience the rates that we saw back in 2020. If you're waiting for rates to get down to a 3%, even a 4%, I can almost guarantee that that will not be happening anytime soon. Right now across the nation, you can expect to find interest rates between 6 and 7%. Honestly, 7% is on the high end, but because of some things going on in the world right now, like with the US and Israel and Iran, rates did see a slight increase just temporarily. So in general, you can probably expect to find an interest rate around that 6.4, 6.5%. However, this is all going to vary on things like your financials, your credit score, how long you've worked at your job, all these different things, and different lenders also will offer different incentives and rates. One thing that I can say about mortgage rates pretty confidently is that I don't think we're going to see them fall much lower than 6%. You might find here and there we'll have a week or two where they drop into the 5.8 or 5.9, but I think where rates are at right now is where we will see them for some time. It's where we have seen them for quite some time, to be honest. So when you start running the math on a median priced home in Cincinnati, you're not paying too much more to own your own home, especially if you're in a situation where maybe you get maybe you get the sellers to help pay down your rate a little bit. You can purchase things like mortgage points, and you can use concessions from the seller to help you do this and get that rate a little bit lower. Maybe you do even end up getting it below 6%. And the last thing I'll say about mortgage rates is the NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, does expect mortgage rates to ease a little bit. But again, like I said, I don't think any expert out there is calling for 5% rates anytime soon. We're going to expect it to hover around 6%, give or take a little bit. Okay, so now that we know about pricing, we know about inventory, and we know about mortgage rates, let's talk about what this means for you as a seller. And if you're a buyer, hang with me here because after that, I'll tell you what it means for you as a buyer. So here's my honest assessment if you're thinking about selling your home in Cincinnati this year. The good news is prices are pretty strong, so you're probably likely sitting on a good amount of equity, especially if you bought 5 or more years ago. Over the last few years, the median home prices have gone up around 8 to 10% each year, so you've been gaining some serious equity. And in fact, I just met with someone in Northern Kentucky, and they had bought their home in 2020, and the amount of equity that they had gained just from then was absolutely insane. Now, it was a new construction neighborhood, so that does help a little bit, but they had some serious equity gained just over the course of about 5.5 years. But what I will say is you're not just going to be able to throw your home on the market and expect 15 offers to come in day one. That was a reality just maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but that's not the case anymore. Each month in Cincinnati right now, we are getting more and more sellers hitting the market, which means buyers have more and more options. So you need to make sure that you price right. You have to have the knowledge or your agent has to have the knowledge of what homes are selling for in the area. Are those homes in great condition? Are they similar to yours? There's a lot of other factors in play that go into this. And if you're thinking about selling your home, or maybe you just want to know, like, what's my home worth? I would love to come and do a CMA for you, free of charge, no strings attached. So if that's something you're interested in, just let me know. Again, links in the description for all of my contact information. But I will end with this. Regardless of location, condition, everything else, the most important thing about selling your home is it needs to be priced right from day one. You only get one chance to make a good first impression, and if you mess that up, you will be leaving money on the table. All right, now for my buyers. Thank you for sticking around. So let's give an honest assessment of what the current market means for you as a buyer. So is it a good time to buy? It really depends on your situation. I'm not going to give you the typical realtor speak of it's always a good time to buy. I want to be honest and upfront and transparent with you. So the good news is if you're coming from out of state, then there's a good chance that you're moving to a city that has more affordability than somewhere else that you've been living, especially if you're coming from a major city. So you have that to your advantage. You have the fact that the median home price in Cincinnati is over $100,000 cheaper than the national median. And you also have the fact that we're seeing more and more inventory hit the market every month here in Cincinnati. That just means there's more options, which means sellers have to be more precise with how they price their home. However, with that being said, I've seen a ton of interest recently in places like Westchester, Liberty Township, Mason, and even on the Northern Kentucky side, and a lot of new construction neighborhoods in Union, for example. Those neighborhoods are still very desirable, and they're kind of, I don't want to say immune, but immune to the rest of Cincinnati's market. What I mean by that is that sellers still have a lot more leverage in those markets, so you're not going to have as much wiggle room as you would in other parts of Cincinnati. With that being said though, Cincinnati has 52 unique neighborhoods, and when I say unique, I really believe every neighborhood offers something different. If you spend a weekend here, you'll definitely realize that pretty quickly. So those places that I mentioned aren't the only places to look. I highly recommend checking out some neighborhoods on the east side and then take a look to the west side as well. And of course, you can go north and you can check out those places like Mason, Westchester, Liberty, and you also have the Northern Kentucky side as well. But if all of that is overwhelming and you are coming from out of town and you want someone to help guide you through that, I would love to do that for you. I love getting to work with you guys, especially when you're out of town. So please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions you might have. Again, my information is down in the description, or I'll pop it up on the screen as well. All right, so let's bring this all together real quick and wrap up. Cincinnati's housing market in 2026 is more stable than it has been in a few years. We're seeing prices increase, but also inventory increase, and that is contributing to a more balanced market. On top of that, Cincinnati continues to be one of the more affordable major US cities. So that is a huge advantage that we have over places like Chicago, Austin, and so many more. And whether you're already here in Cincinnati or you're from out of town, a market always rewards someone who is prepared and strategic. So make sure that you do those things, like get pre-approved if you're a buyer. If you're a seller, make sure you have a thorough CMA done so you price right from the beginning. Doing these things will not only save you time, but also money. And if you need someone to point you in the right direction, whether you're looking for a realtor or maybe you're looking for a lender, I can definitely point you in the right direction either way. And I'd love to help you if you are looking for a realtor. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit like and consider subscribing for more content like this. I post multiple videos a week about Cincinnati, so I would greatly appreciate if you gave it a like and considered subscribing as well. And comment below if there's any certain video you want me to make. I'll make sure to do that for you. And as always, until next time.